All right, Roto Grinders, here we are. We are kicking it old school with a couple of old fools. It's EMac, it's Al Smizzle, a rare weekday appearance. They let me out of the weekends for once here. Got a little internet issues down there in Florida. One, Dean78902110, is without internet today. He's playing around on his phone in the chat. I can see him. Al, talk to me. It's been like a year since we've done a show together.
How's it going, EMac?
Hi, everybody.
I'm just so giddy that I have my soundboard again.
I know it's one of those. It's one of those little pleasures in life to make the lemonade out of the lemons. That the Wi-Fi. Not only is Dean's Wi-Fi down, the Wi-Fi in Nashville is down. So we're just abounding everywhere. And wait for it, the triple threat. Al, how's your Wi-Fi doing?
Well, I shoot here in my basement, obviously, and the router here in the basement that I usually wire into to do these shows has gone on the crapper. So that one's not working. So I'm trying to pull Wi-Fi from the second floor router, which is giving me full bars, but apparently freezes from time to time. So if I freeze, EMac will take over the show until I can catch up and stop buffering.
Yeah. So that will be the point in time where I start talking about Udonis Haslem. And the chat will turn against me, Al. He was my recommendation on Saturday. 7 minutes in the first half, 1 rebound. Then there was a magical 12 minutes in the fourth quarter where he didn't totally kill all the teams. But we have new value tonight. We've got all kinds of goodness. We've got pick a center, any center. They're all very cheap. There's value at point guard. We can kind of do whatever we want. I think this is going to be a fun night. I think there will be a fair amount of overlap tonight in the cash games, but we run into that all the time. So it's going to be interesting to see how we can make some tournament teams. But we will get to that shortly. But let's kick it off, Al. You know who Sunday's play was? Everyone's favorite Cameroonian, Luke Richard Mamba Mute, and he didn't make the game.
He missed. He was on the Sullinger plan, I think. And did not show up to the stadium, so he did not play. But apparently he's found his way there tonight, so he's in, and Jason Richardson is not in. However, tonight it is like, this is a tsunami of value, isn't it? Or should we call it an ice storm of value? What would be the proper weather term for the amount of, and it's all centrally located. It's all the centers. Like, we were going through before the show the list of, like, 8 or 10 value centers on the day, and here's your thing, because on DraftKings it does look like it's a 2-center night, does it not?
Absolutely. Much like Saturday was as many guards as you can. Tonight's as many
3-4 guards. Yeah. Well, I mean the value centers, and not all of these guys are going to turn a profit.
No, and that's the risky part. Who's it going to be? We don't know. All right, and this is our first freeze, so we'll let Al catch up. But we're going to talk about our first game here as his buffer lag comes back into work. You're back? All right, well, let's start off with the first game, Al. Philly at Miami. We've got some centers. We've got some interesting point guards. Let's start with the Philly side first. Take her away.
Well, this game does kind of look like it could be a blowout in the sense that it's only got a total of 192, and Philly is an 11-point dog.
Yeah, it's going to be ugly. This feels like a 38-point first half for Philly. So we'll see with that. And so first play, Al, since it's a low-scoring total, is Nerlens Noel, one of the bigs that has made his way. He's not necessarily a center, but he's one of those cheaper bigs. He's going to be contending with Hassan Whiteside, who is a vortex of rebounding and a defensive stalwart. Nerlens Noel does a lot of putbacks, a lot of rebounding of his own. Are you worried about Nerlens Noel tonight?
I'm kind of wondering what they're going to start with for Philly. Are they going to go big and start Sims and put him on Whiteside? Or are they going to really try and ask Nerlens Noel to guard Hassan?
Correct. Sorry, you're lagging there on that one.
Sorry, I don't know if they're going to start Sims to let him body up on Whiteside.
Gotcha.
What I'm trying to say.
Gotcha. That would be an interesting take on it. Yeah, we'll have to see how that one plays out. This one seems a little murky. at least for Noel. But I do like him on DraftKings 5,600. Kind of fits nicely into the forward or the utility spot where I'm not doubling down on Len and others. Oops, got a little ahead of myself here. Let's talk point guards here. Is there any reason not to play Isaiah Cannon tonight, Al, at minimum salary? Still.
I thought that there was no reason to fade him last night. He kind of proved us right. There is a little more trepidation this evening because Miami is good against point guards and it's such a low total. However, this kid's going to play 30 minutes. And if you give me a minimum salary point guard on a team that is just going to put the ball in his hands and let him make all the decisions, it's going to be very hard for him to miss value. He looks like, to me, he's going to get 6 to 10x on that salary. He should be able to get you between 18 and 30 DraftKings points relatively easily.
Yeah, I really, really, really think he is going to be on all my lineups, and he actually is right now. He was last night also, but that was a different circumstance when we lost Steph Curry. We're very close to the tip-off. Is there anyone else on the Phillies side that you want to talk about, or shall we move on to deciphering what Goran Dragic is going to be up to this evening?
Are you on Dragic tonight?
I am not.
I mean, you can, but I don't know that you need to. In that mid-range of point guard pricing on DraftKings, you have Deron Williams, you have Dragic, you have IT2, who I know that you're probably going to have in 100% of your rosters tonight. Is there a reason to go with Dragic in a low-totaled game that could turn into a blowout?
I haven't found one, and frankly, he was not even on my roster, or pardon me, on my radar to be on my roster.
Yeah, I mean, to me, if you're going to play a point guard in this game, it's Kanan, and he's there because he's an easy bet to reach value, a good bet to exceed value and turn a profit on his salary, and he opens up a lot of salary for you to spend on premiums at other positions.
Yes, to all of the above.
Mm-hmm.
But let's look for some sneakiness. Luol Deng, I was all excited for him in his last game. Completely let us down. I thought he would see additional time at the 4. He did. He did nothing with it. He took even less shots than he normally takes, and Bosch is out. What do you think about Deng? Is he somebody we can look at, or just is he a stay away going forward?
I mean, he's 5,600, and he has the ability to score 30 fantasy points. He had a hiccup last game, obviously, where he only put up 11.25 DraftKings points. He's going to be under-owned tonight, for all of the reasons we already mentioned. Blowout possibility, low total, and he stunk up the joint in his last game. A lot of people got burned by him at the salary he was at last time, so those people are going to fade him tonight. I think he makes a great tournament play. I'm not going to be using him in cash games.
Yep, I'm on board with that. What about Dwayne Wade? He's not the plug-and-play guy that he was earlier. He seemingly is still dealing with a myriad of nagging injuries. He's another guy that I see a lot of people talking about today, but I don't have on any teams.
Yeah, his usage rate has kind of gone way up anytime that Bosch has been off the floor. If you run a Wowie search with Bosch off the floor, you kind of see his usage rate sitting up around 40%, which is beyond the league leader, who's Westbrook at 37. So you're basically getting like a Kobe-ish player, but it's Dwayne Wade, and we don't know how many minutes they're going to play him every night. They just picked up an extra guard in Dragic. They still have Mario Chalmers to play. They can run Deng out there for extra minutes if they have to, and it's a blowout possibility. If I was going to gamble on a guard for Miami today, it would be Mario Chalmers. He's seen a nice floor. He plays with that second team, runs the second unit right now, and his scoring's been pretty consistent for the last few games where he's touched the ceiling of 47, but has been pretty consistent in the mid to high 20s.
Yes, and shockingly, this is the thing that gets me. When he had his Super Mario moments and the right people were out and he was in starting lineup and getting all these minutes and everything, he's performing better now than he was then.
And he's playing starters minutes, 37, 37, and 38 minutes the last 3 games with 35 coming against New York. So even in blowouts, he still gets his minutes. When they rest all the other guys, somebody has to play, and he draws the short straw in that instance.
All right, let's get people what they want. Not Jalen Rose, but the Al Smizzle take on Hassan Whiteside, who is arguably the lead center play this evening.
I mean, is there anybody that averages more fantasy points per minute in the league than Hassan Whiteside?
He's been a revelation. I don't know if this is lightning in a bottle. It seems sustainable. I don't know how many teams or how he was in the D League. A lot of question marks here. This is like the curious case of Sid Finch, only it's not baseball, and it's real. But I think that Whiteside is my third favorite center of the evening. So I've got two other guys ahead of him. Where does he rank on your list, Al? All right, it looks like we have one of our frozen moments. It looks like Al's back. I made the bold declaration, Al, that Whiteside was just like The Curious Case of Sid Finch, only it's basketball. And he's my third rated center tonight. Where does he stand on your list?
Well, to me, it all comes down to his minutes that you project for him. That's really going to be the key. If you think he's going to, I mean, he's averaging against this opponent. I project him to score about 1.43, 1.44 fantasy points a minute, which puts him way above anybody else on the chart. You know, he scores more fantasy points per minute than anyone else. This is a blowout, though. This is a possible blowout in this game. If this game stays at all close where he plays 30 minutes, you're going to be expecting a pretty big output from Hassan Whiteside, especially coming on the heels of what happened last night against Vooch when he just went hog wild against this Philly interior. Whiteside is the same type of center who can just crush them, get a ton of boards, block a lot of shots. I don't expect him to get a lot of scoring.
All right, chat, you're going to get your wish. Damn it. There's my Dean. There's my Dean impression since I'm filling in for him. Apologies for the lag, guys. It's I can hear when Al's starting to lag up, so I try not to talk, but we'll get through this. Back to Whiteside. Again, he still is my third guy. I do have a fair amount of him. I am playing a lot of two center lineups out there across the industry, but I have Alex Len as my number one center play this evening. But that game's a little bit farther off. So let's move on to the next game here, Al. Toronto at New Orleans. No Brow, no Ryan Anderson. Tyreek Evans, I wish he was shooting guard. We could play him at shooting guard on FanDuel. I'm on the fence. I mean, yes, he is their point guard right now, but I'm so sad that there's not multi-position eligibility on DraftKings.
Yeah, I miss multi-positional eligibility. Those were good times. Can we get like a Sarah McLachlan, in memoriam video with the Oscars last night, just for like MPE?
Yes, and I have a feeling it's not going to come back for baseball either.
I think it's still there for baseball, from what I can ascertain.
I hope so. Baseball, it's just so important to be able to have some choices because we don't like the overlap that's there. But Toronto. Pat looking like he might be out. Lou Williams looking like he might be back in, coming off back-to-back high 20s scoring games. Randomly missed tonight. Here he is. Where are you landing on this? We've got Lowry, who nobody wants to play anymore for good reason. DeMar Rosen's kind of tailing off a little bit. I don't know that there's a ton of Toronto plays this evening.
No, and it looks kind of like the bench guys are more palatable than the starters. I mean, guys like James Johnson, if Pat's out, looks like a really good play. Once again, come off a huge game. Obviously not going to have that type of game again, as you said before we went on air, where he makes all of his shots. That's going to be unlikely. However, Lou Williams has been lighting it up as well off the bench. Looking at the other side, with Anthony Davis and Ryan Anderson out, Tyreek Evans and Eric Gordon see a significant bump in usage and shots. So I could see Tyreek being somebody that people want to play. However, Gordon may be the best play in this game from a guard perspective. How scary is that?
I'm finding him in a large number of my lineups, and I would not have thought that. But he is, if you're not going with James Harden, you got to really look at Gordon. And there's one other guy we'll get to in a minute. But at 5,800 on DraftKings, I'm projecting him for low 30 fantasy points, but that there is some upside in there. So we're talking, close to 6x value. Potentially in play and pretty solid shot at 5.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Let's see. Tyreek, yes, absolutely. I think that's about it for this game. Oh, wait. There's one more cheap center out here. Would you like to discuss Alexei Ajinka, the draft cheap favorite play in the history of ever?
He's one of my 9 center value plays on the night. So he fit. I mean, if you want to play a value center, you can go with Georgie Dang, Alexis Ajinca, Rudy Gobert, Omar Sheik, Alex Len, Nikola Pekovic, Zeller, or if you're feeling saucy, maybe even Yusuf Nurkic.
You're not going to talk about Georgie Dang?
He was the first one.
Oh, sorry. I was reading chat trying to catch up here. They liked my impression of Dean when you were off air last time.
Nice.
All right, but Jinsa and Asik, what do you think about them for cash games tonight?
To me, center's going to be the last position I fill in tonight. With this many values, and we've seen this before, we usually talk about it in baseball, where you say, okay, well, there's so many third basemen that you just, you fill in the rest of your lineup, and then whichever one you can afford, you just go with. To me, that's center today. Fill in the rest of your lineup with the guys that you really want to roster, and there will be a center available for you to play.
Chat is asking, Hoovadoose wants to know about, and Samuel Valkins want to know about Babbitt. Lucas Babbitt.
I'm not playing Luke Babbitt tonight.
I'm looking him up to see what he has done. He's got 20 plus fantasy points in the 2 games prior to the break.
Yeah, to me it looks like an unnecessary play. If you're trying to punt at small forward, I get it, but it's not something that's really necessary to do today. In fact, with all the value at the point guard and the center positions, it looks like a great spot to pay up for somebody at small forward who's a little bit more consistent. And then if you want to take that route in a GPP where you go with a guy like Babbitt, then that's fine to differentiate from the crowd that's going to be on the value centers. Or it allows you to roster one less value center or one less value point guard to differentiate your lineup, but it's definitely not a cash game play to me.
All right. Here's the other interesting thing with all the centers. Who do you think is going to be the highest owned?
I think Len is because he's cheapest.
Okay.
So I think him and Ajinça at 4K. It's going to come down to who people like the most, and Len plays a little bit faster pace, going up against Boston. They have, 1.5 healthy bigs, and one of them's 47 years old in Bass. So it comes down to, can Zeller or Bass keep him off the glass, and he runs the break very well. He looks like the one that's, to me, that's going to be the highest owned. I could be wrong. There's just so many of them, and they're all kind of in the same price range that I don't know that one of them should be. So if that's the case, if Len's going to be let's say Len is 35 or 40% owned, right? You should probably go with one of the other ones because they all have the same potential for reaching or exceeding value, especially in GPP. So I'll go with the ones that are going to be less owned for GPP.
Yep. I think that's the way we've got to play that. All right, moving along. Milwaukee, Chicago. Jared Bayless kind of stands out to me. And that's really about it.
On Milwaukee, yeah. I mean, last game, what did he play? 37 or 38 minutes, and MCW is still out tonight, the recently acquired MCW. So I don't see him playing less than 35 tonight. And if he does that, give me a point guard that plays that many minutes. I'll take it. Kanan's going to play, 30 plus.
Yeah, I would definitely agree on that one. I really do like Bayless. If I'm going for a secondary play, I really don't have one. I was hoping the magic would last a little longer for Jared Dudley. He seemingly is called off. Calmed down. I'm not so sure about Giannis Antetokounmpo, and I'm not really on Middleton either. So by default for me, it's just kind of landing on Bayless as my only play that I have from this game. On the Chicago side, however, Al, there is a power forward that I think should be on most of our cash game rosters.
Should he, though? I want to believe that he should be. I really, really do. He's disappointed in this. He has excelled in this position before, and he's disappointed in this position before. The question is, as you've heard me say every day this season, minutes equals money. How many minutes is Nikola Mirotic going to play today?
That's not the guy I'm talking about.
Really? On Chicago?
On Chicago. I'm talking about Boom Boom Pow.
Well, I thought you said value power forward.
Oh, no. There's one power forward.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I would agree with you that Pau Gasol is the prime power forward play on the day. He's the guy I want to roster in my cash game lineups. You know what you're going to get with him pretty much every night. You're going to get his 30-plus minutes, not like 38 or 39. You're going to get 31 to 34. Totally fine with that. He averages a double-double. You get that bonus on DraftKings as well. But as I was saying, Mirotic with Taj Gibson out now becomes one of the prime value plays of the day, and he's not a center. I can play a value play that's not a center, so this is very intriguing to me. The question is minutes. We've seen him excel in these situations with Taj Gibson out and play 25 to 30 minutes. He is just south of a point-a-minute performer at at his position. So if he plays 15 minutes, which we've also seen happen when Taj was out, where do you put his minutes today between 15 and 29? Pick a number.
I just don't trust him. I actually don't have Mirotic in any lineups. I'm looking at 20 to 22 minutes is my guess.
20 to 22 minutes he pays off between 18 and 22 points. Right? So it makes him a solid play, but like you said, he's risky because we've seen this situation before with one of those forwards out where he comes off the bench and he plays 30 minutes. We've also seen this situation before where they slide Dunleavy to the 4, they play small with the bench unit, and then he only plays like 12 to 14. So I think he's extremely risky. I think people are going to take the chance here and there to differentiate in GPPs. I don't know that he's a cash game play.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I can't trust him. We haven't seen it enough. There's just too much uncertainty in this situation. So I'm not on him. I'm not really on anybody else. I think that all the long, lanky guys that are on the Milwaukee side, it makes me not want to have Rose, makes me not want to have Jimmy Minutes. So for me, it's really Powell is the only one I'm rostering. And I have a fair amount of him. He's one of my core plays.
I agree, and once again, this is not really a game that you want a ton of exposure to. It's a 193 over/under. They're not expecting to score a ton of points. Both teams play a little bit slow. Milwaukee's been fantastic defensively. This is a great place to look for value. It's a great place to look for one prime player, but it's not a game that I want 3-4 players from. Unless it goes quadruple overtime. Can you predict that? Because I can't.
No, but it is a Mike Dunleavy revenge game because
oh God.
And it's like double revenge because his dad got fired because all coaches get fired at some point. His dad got fired.
Double Dunleavy revenge game?
Yes.
My name is Mike Dunleavy. You fired my father. Prepare to die.
Indeed. Do you remember, Al? You should remember this because we're about the same age.
I'm old.
I think
is that what you were going for? You should remember this.
I'm thinking you're like a year or two younger than me. So there we go. But Mike Dunleavy, the coach.
Yeah.
Actually playing when he was assistant coach in 2 different seasons. They brought him off the bench because they had so few bodies out there for Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like the Tree Rollins effect for those couple years in Orlando and I think Houston.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Houston. Let's move on to the next game. A game with fantasy goodness, Al. 211 over/under. We've got potentially no Patrick Beverley, which would just mean hello. Should we not be playing the sneaky Ricky Rubio?
Yeah, Pat Beverley out really opens it up for the opposing point guard. The first instinct is to say, okay, this player's out, so who's going to fill those minutes? Where's the usage rate going to go? It's obviously a great way to look at things, but when it's a prime defender like him, it's been the Ricky Rubio show since he's come back there in Minnesota. I don't know that that's going to change. His price has escalated at this point. What is he, 6.6K on DraftKings today?
Yeah, and 6,500 on FanDuel.
Yeah, so it's not where it was before, under 6K, where it just looks like a plug-and-play with a possibility of triple-double. Still a possibility to triple-double. Houston plays at a very fast pace. They do turn the ball over a lot just because they play so many possessions. That feeds into Ricky Rubio's hands. He's a guy that relies on steals. He is not a great scorer, but at the pace that they're playing this game, with Beverly out, if he is out for sure, I've seen him questionable. Do you have confirmation that he's out?
I am not able to confirm that at this time.
Okay, so he's questionable. If he is out, I think it definitely bumps somebody like Rubio. I'm really not looking to roster that many guys on Minnesota tonight. Harden, I think, is the number one play on the board. With all the value, I think he's going to be extremely highly owned because he's very affordable, much like Russ Westbrook was last night. Georgie
agree. Harden is in every single one of my cash games at this point. What do you think about Pekovic and Georgie Dang? Who are they equal? They're pretty much the same price across the industry, or very similar. Is there one you favor over the other?
I favor Georgie Dang because I feel that he has the higher upside on any given night. Like if they played 1,000 nights in a row with these two, Deng's the guy that's got the higher upside. Peck is what he is. Georgie Deng has 2020 game.
All right. Speaking of 2020, half my age, it's Mr. Wiggins' 20th birthday tonight, and I'm not playing him on a single roster. Do you have any Wiggins exposure?
His price is awkward. I'm not going with the birthday game. For me, he's at 6,200. It's a nice price to come down from a guy if you're not paying up for Hayward, and you don't want to pay. You can't quite afford somebody like Kawhi Leonard. You can come down at 6,200 to Andrew Wiggins and have a guy with a multifaceted game. The problem is at 6,200, he needs to score over 36 fantasy points on DraftKings. If I look at his game log, he's done that once in the last 6 games and twice in the last 10. So for him to exceed value is rare. While I think he's a great player, I think he's a great prospect, I think he's going to be one of the, an all-star for a lot of years to come. I don't care about those years to come. I care about today. And today, he's got about a 1 in 5 chance of exceeding value.
Yes. That was more eloquently put than me saying, I don't have him on a single team. Thank you for giving some reasoning and background there. Kevin Martin.
Known to be unduly verbose at time to time.
That's all right. Kevin Martin, how is he still with the team? I thought they were showcasing him for a trade, too.
Sure,
He's
right?
still there.
Yeah.
Crazy. But
there was no reason for him to be there. Why did they not just deal him for a ball rack?
Yeah. I mean,
a second-round draft pick.
A second-round draft pick 3 years from now is about what
and a ball rack. Yeah, you got to get the ball rack, though.
Okay. Fair enough. Is it going to have money balls on it, or is it just going to have the regular orange ones that are only worth 1?
Well, even if it's just used as a prop for Zach LaVine to dunk over in the next dunk competition, that would be fine. Just get him a prop for the next year's dunk competition. Either way, Kevin Martin's going to play his, 34 minutes tonight?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Take his 19 and a half shots.
15-plus times from the field. And, look, he's gotten 6, 5, 5, and 9 rebounds the last 4 games. Where is that coming from?
Randomly, they're bouncing back towards him.
Right? He's just standing in the right spot and the ball falls to him?
Yes. It's not the Dennis Rodman school of angles and trajectory. They're right place, right time. All right, last guy in this game that I want to talk about is Terrence Jones.
Yeah.
Thoughts on him? Nice little price there on DraftKings.
Yeah.
Good for about 30 points. I've got him in some cash games. I don't know that he has 40-point upside, so I'm not thrilled to have him in any tournaments, but I think he's pretty steady.
I loved him at 3,800 in the last game. At 4,600 today, I like him, but I'm not in love with him. He did play 30 minutes the first game against Orlando. Last game against Toronto, he played 24, but he came out because he got popped in the nose. Didn't he have a nosebleed at the end of that game, and it cost him a couple of minutes on the floor, or he would have approached 30 minutes again? If you're telling me he's locked in at 27 to 30 minutes, every time that they hit the floor, it's really kind of taken a little bit away from Josh Smith. Corey Brewer's doing just fine because he plays those other minutes, but a guy like Terrence Jones is almost a fantasy point a minute. And at his salary of 4.6, I need, 25, 26 points. If you're telling me he's going to play 29 minutes, he meets and exceeds value with a chance to turn a real profit on that salary if he has a big game. So I don't mind him at all in cash games if you're projecting him at 27 to 29 minutes.
Yes, and that's about where I'm landing on him. I'm just looking up at a couple of the other players that I had questions with. Now, I'm away from Mambute tonight just because I don't know what's going on. But in the same price point is Omar Asik, is Tim Frazier, and is Gallinari and Bayless. So there are a ton of people right around there. Do you like any of those guys better than Terrence Jones for cash games?
Not at the forward positions.
Okay.
That's really my issue, is that him being forward eligible is the interesting thing. Now, Noel does become interesting to me, though, but he's higher priced.
I think
because if they're going to play Deng at power forward and they allow Nerlens Noel to just guard him instead of trying to bang against Hassan Whiteside and go big with Sims, I think Noel becomes a very sneaky play.
Yes, I agree, and I enjoy.
But it's going to come down to matchups. It's not anything I have until we find out their starting lineup, and we're not going to find it out with the late start time today, 4:30 Pacific time instead of 4 o'clock Pacific time, 7:30 instead of 7 o'clock Eastern time. We're not going to know that by the end of the show, I assume.
I would agree. All right. Last guy in this game, James Harden. Yep, play him everywhere. Okay,
Yeah,
Brooklyn, and Denver. Denver is a hot mess. Hot, hot, hot. The only guy I'm really looking at is Gallinari. There is definitely an argument to be made for Nurkic. But let's talk the other side. Deron Williams.
Well, how many minutes?
No Jarrett Jack.
I know that.
30 minutes.
30 minutes?
30 minutes.
I'll take the way over.
Really?
I'll take the way over. He played 40 last game. Conversely, whenever Jarrett Jack was in and Deron Williams was out, Jarrett Jack was playing 38-plus minutes a game. I'm going to say that Deron Williams plays no less than 35.5 minutes tonight with a very real possibility of playing 37 to 39.
What does the Magic Owl projections have him at?
That's where I'm putting him in my in my minutes played. I've got him at like 36, 37 minutes.
And where are you ranking him on your point guard? Would you put him taking into account price ratios or production ratios? Do you put him as your number one play of the day?
He's as good a value to me as Jared Bayless is. He obviously costs more, but you're banking in more points. I think that makes a very good point guard combo. You could even go 3 point guards with those two and Kanan on DraftKings and then spend up everywhere else. There's so much value tonight. It's just going to depend on where you want to lock in those points. You can basically take your pick and say, okay, I want these 3 prime guys. You've already mentioned you like Powell and you like Harden. So lock them into your lineups, right? And then build a lineup around it with value.
Absolutely. Al, did you hack my computer today?
No, I think I just hacked everybody's computer because that's probably going to be the most owned lineup.
Yes, I'm suspecting there to be a heady overlap in cash games tonight. Lastly, Danilo Gallinari. I think he is a great play. I really like him at 3,600 on FanDuel.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not going with Harden, he does fill that. Oh, wait, is he a small forward on? He's a small forward.
He's a small forward on both sides. I like him a lot better on FanDuel. It's our typical rule, right? The multiplier on DraftKings, you got to get more points per dollar to pay off a salary. There's less roster spots. You got to score more points per player. So at 4.4, he needs to score you, 25 to 27 points to pay off that salary. He's kind of teased at that the last couple of games, 28 the game before, 19 last game with his extended minutes. He played 36 minutes 2 games ago, 19 last night in the blowout against OKC. But on FanDuel, he's cheaper. So if you like him at his price on DraftKings, you have to love him at his price on FanDuel, where he only needs 18 points to reach value.
Yes, the one thing I'm looking at is to see, do we know yet if Wilson Chandler is out?
I don't know that.
All right, he had an adductor.
It's questionable, but I don't know if there's been any confirmation. And that game doesn't start for a few hours, so we might not have confirmation of that before lock. I don't think that Gallinari on FanDuel is Chandler dependent.
Correct. He's
Chandler
100 above the minimum. Yeah.
Yeah, Chandler out helps his ceiling, but I don't think it hurts his floor. I don't think it hurts his minutes. The only thing that hurts his minutes projection is them sucking and getting blown out. One guy whose minutes projection does not necessarily count on them sucking and them getting blown out, but it's his own ability to keep his big mitts to himself is Yusef Nurkic. He is Hassan Whiteside-esque in his fantasy points per minute output. The problem is his minutes fluctuate so greatly because A, Brian Shaw, and B, his fouls per minute problem.
Yeah, we can't solve either one of those either.
You're never going to solve the Shaw problem.
No, they need to get rid of him. Although when I was growing up in Florida, he was my favorite player. Oh, I'm sorry, I was channeling my inner Dean there. All right, Boston, Phoenix. Put your dukes up, Al. What do you think? 3-pointers at 50 paces for Isaiah Thomas and Eric Bledsoe?
Roughly. I mean, you were saying before the show, were they the ones that had an issue? Did they have a personality clash on that team?
I think a lot of it was Dragic, but a lot of it Isaiah started pissing him off because he shoots too much. I
love that you call him Dragic.
I do it just to be annoying.
I love it. I'm not even mad about it. It makes me smile every time. It reminds me of Zoolander. It takes me back. It's like, the Derelict collection.
Yes. Well, wait till baseball starts and I have fun with names there.
I Yeah, you guys don't know this, but EMac, he created the piano key necktie.
Yes. There you go.
But you never saw Zoolander, so you don't get the reference.
My friends have said I have not seen Zoolander. My friends have said that joke before. I was like, why do I know that? Why do I know that? Yes. All right, Boston, Phoenix. Who do you think? Isaiah Thomas, Avery Bradley. Do you like one? Do you like the other?
Bradley, I think they're both good. You could stack them for a tournament, and I'd have no problem with it. Again, Phoenix plays so fast, and Boston can't stop anybody. This is going to be an up-and-down game, and since they got rid of all those bodies, Bradley is the guy shooting the ball a lot. There is an awful lot of Boston value. You could technically stack 4 guys on Boston for a tournament. You could go Isaiah Thomas, you could go Bradley, you could go Zeller, and you could go Bass for a GPP lineup. And there's your gimmick lineup of the day, the Celtics stack.
Yes, I like that. But
I'm making one right now.
Well, good, because I know you hit on these and nobody profits because everybody's laughing at you and you don't put them in. So
I know, just lost money all around.
All right. I'm sorry. Did you say Jay Crowder?
I did not say Jay Crowder, but what do you think about him?
I need somebody to talk me off the ledge because at 3,700, he is one way to go when you're trying to get Harden, Gasol. That would be Pau Gasol, and I'm curious to get your take also on CP3, but that is how I'm getting that lineup to work.
I don't mind Crowder. He was small forward eligible on DraftKings. Now he's power forward eligible. They moved him.
Yes.
That sucks.
Very much so. But I am playing him at my forward spot.
Yeah. I just hate it when they move the furniture around. I just got used to it the way it is.
But for 3,700, Al, I don't mind that the couch isn't quite the color I wanted or the pattern.
But it's not where it was. They moved it by the door now, and I don't like the flow of the room. There's no more feng shui when I'm rostering all these Boston guys.
Yeah.
It's disappointing.
It's very sad. It's a tragique.
It's very tragic.
Okay. Anybody else for Boston?
No, I play them all.
Play them all.
I can't play anymore. It's like, I want, you've got this 24-hour-a-day sports channel. Can I get more than it? Sorry, we only offer 24 hours in the day. You can only roster 5 Celtics.
That's your personal limit?
Yeah.
No more than 5? Okay.
No more than, well, FanDuel, they only let you do 4.
Oh God, that's right. I had forgotten about that for basketball until I was playing the late slate the other night.
Yeah, you have to stack. Yeah,
kicking me out. I'm like, what? I'm picking people from all these games. Oh wait.
Yeah.
Stacking in basketball. It's not. Oh, it's not a winning play.
They frown on that.
Unless it's a gimmick lineup. All right. What do you think about Eric Bledsoe? I'm kind of off him. I love Alex Len, and I've got PJ Tucker in a few lineups, although I wish that 4,900 was more like 4,500. That would seal the deal for me there.
I think Bledsoe's a great pivot from Harden, to be honest with you. Everybody's going to be spending up on Harden because there's so much value there. You can carve out one less value play, knock that up to another mid-range play by coming down from Harden to Bledsoe.
Yes. There's my analysis on that. Yes.
Yes. Dynamite drop in, EMac. Those broadcasting classes are really paying off.
Yes, indeed they are. I have made a lineup where I did not put Harden in, and it's funny how different that lineup looks.
Right. From
all my other ones, because you're right, you get that $2,500.
Yeah. Totally changes something. It turns one punt value into not a punt play at all.
Yeah. Markieff Morris, the last guy I want to touch on in this game. Mm-hmm. If his shot is falling, he's awesome. He just doesn't do enough Pete Jennings things and stuff outside of scoring for those monster games.
I would totally agree with that.
Okay. San Antonio and Utah. Are they tricking us into thinking long and hard about playing Kawhi, not Leonard? Have you seen that price today, or did he just? He's
super cheap because to be quite honest, he's kind of sucked recently.
Just 2 for his last 23 or something like that.
Yeah, well, he had 5 of 7 last game against Golden State, but only played 19 minutes. Played 27 minutes against the Clippers, 28 minutes against Detroit. This is a guy who, if nobody else, like, I always use the line. I don't always roster Spurs, but when I do, they're named Kawhi Leonard. I don't know if that's really the right way to go right now. I think there's something wrong with him. That they're not kind of letting on, and they're just kind of letting him work through it. He's just not doing all the things that he used to do. The last game where he did was against Detroit. 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks, 4 steals, 8 points. That's the type of line that he generally puts up. You look at the last few games, no assists, no steals, no blocks. He needs to fill up the stat sheet. He needs to do a bunch of things. And to do that, he needs to play his 32 to 34 minutes, and he's not doing that either recently, which kind of makes me believe that they're just kind of helping him nurse through something.
Would you play him at all tonight? Then it sounds like it's
no. I have some of him. I'm staying far away in cash games. If I'm going to pay for a small forward in cash games, I think he's at an awkward price. I think I'm either going to come down to 6,200 for Wiggins, or going to pay all the way up to 7,800 for Hayward if I'm going to pay for a small forward tonight on either site. Going for Kawhi and his discounted price looks like a great play for tournaments. I think he's too high to be a great value in cash games. There's a lot of risk there right now.
All right. Anybody else from the San Antonio Spurs?
I don't roster Spurs if they're not named Kawhi.
And if they're not playing or if they are playing in Mexico, sorry.
Yes. Oh, such bad memories.
Too soon?
So much money.
Still too soon?
Stupid elevator fire.
Oh, Utah Jazz. You mentioned that Gordon Hayward is in play for you. How about Rudy Gobert?
I like Rudy Gobert. I like the Stifle Tower. I think that people are going to be off of him because of that last game. If you're going to attack San Antonio, you're going to do it through the post. The interesting thing is Gobert has not really done what we thought he was going to do recently, and it's because 3 shots, 4 shots, 6 shots. As soon as they traded Cantor, we thought, oh, he's going to play 35 minutes. He played 24. Played 27 the game before that. The guy who got a little bit of a bump was Trevor Booker coming off the bench, and the guy who's seeing the big usage bump in the last game was Favors and Hayward. I think that Favors and Hayward make for good plays. Hayward's not as sneaky. Favors is extremely sneaky. Not a lot of people are going to be on him, but I like Gobert. I don't love Gobert, but his number is going to be definitely down based on what happened last game.
Would you consider Trevor Booker as a value play tonight?
Tournaments, yes.
Okay. Anybody else from this game, or do we get to another one with a little bit of fantasy interest?
Is there anything else from this game? No, not really.
All right. Memphis and the Clips. Now, normally we'd say, oh, we're not really going to play anybody from here, but there's a lot of activity that has been, or opportunity that's been created by the absence of Blake Griffin. You have CP3 and Jordan having insane usage rates. You've got Zebo, who's going to take his limited jumping skills down into the paint and just absolutely dominate, because who's going to guard him? Spencer Hawes, really? And then you've got Gasol, who is also awesome in the paint because he's not going to be stopped by Jordan. But I'm scared about all these guys. It's a late game, Al. I know we have fun, we joke about it, but with the hammer, the final game of the night, and here we are. I'm a little nervous about rostering anybody in there, even though we've got Paul and we've got DeAndre Jordan and we've got Zebo and we've got Gasol.
What we do have is an over/under over 200. I've got it at 201.5, and it's a close game. These teams don't like each other. They played each other a couple of times in the playoffs the last few years. That's where these rivalries come from, is when they have to play. And they've both gone to 7 games, I believe, 6 or 7 games, long series. These guys do not like each other. The Clippers have played a lot faster. They've scored a lot more fast break points, and DeAndre Jordan's been a beast. Is that going to change just because they're going up against Memphis tonight and going with this small lineup? Now, are they going to – that's the other part of it. Hawes, I'm assuming, is going to be guarding Gasol because he can guard. He's the type of guy that faces up. They don't just dump it to him in the post and pound. He will get absolutely eaten alive by Zach Randolph. So I think DJ is going to be on Zach Randolph.
Really? Now that, you know what, that actually makes sense. Did you used to coach basketball before, Al? Because your theories and strategies are pretty good here. Oh, he's frozen. Sorry. He'll miss that zinger. We'll get him when he comes back. That is a good analysis. I am thinking more and more that I really got to get something in this game just because there are 4 pretty solid plays. I have a sneaky guy that I'm actually looking up for his price. His name is Davis.
You going with Big Baby after the big game he had last game?
Last game, he's had back-to-back 20-pointers at 3,400. Somebody's going to have to go against the Memphis Bigs. I'm looking at him for 20 minutes, point a minute maybe, 15 to 22 fantasy points. He's gotten 21, 25 his last 2. Thoughts? Is that crazy?
Well, he's definitely playing the minutes. I'm actually going to be at this game tonight.
Well, can you give him a little pep talk? Can you get a little bit?
I have to stack this game because I'm going to be there. That's like the DFS rule. If you're going to a game, you have to stack it. You have to have all the players from that game, especially if it's like the late night hammer and it's an island game, like this one. I mean, this is the only game going. It's all the PMR. I'm going to have everybody in this game on one lineup.
And it's going to go into overtime, and you're probably going to get drawn to make the half-court shot for $1 million at halftime.
Maybe. I'm hosting an event for DraftKings at the game tonight.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What is the since they are our sponsor, let's take a brief moment to chat about that. Since this was really our last game of the night, I'll call up a rapid fire. But tell us a little bit about the event tonight, Al.
Well, they did this on Saturday night. I was there hosting for that as well. They have the partnership with the Clippers, as you guys know, and I think I froze.
Oh, you're still good. Oh, now you froze. There we go. So we'll let Al catch back up with the buffering there. Chat, I see you talking about the Haslam. I'm not going all in on Davis, on Big Baby, like I did with Haslam.
No.
But I do have a fair amount of Davis. And now that I know that Al's going to be at the game, there's going to be some magic happening. And you're back, Al, so tell us the event.
They got a suite at the game. They've got, and they have some VIPs from DraftKings. Some players were there, filled the suite. They brought their plus ones. And they got to go see a Clippers basketball game. They bring some of the spirit up at halftime, the dance team, the cheerleaders, and they get to take some pictures and meet the guys. And they gave out a Clippers autographed team basketball. Fully catered suite, all that stuff. So it was really a great time. I'll be posting some pictures to Twitter from that later this evening as well. And I will obviously have a full stack of this game somewhere.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to seeing those tweets in action. All right, Al, let's do the rapid fire. Dubbers, it is on draft day, one of the fun sites that we like to play on. Great interface. A lot of people, they missed their window, though, I think, Al. A lot of the other sites are catching up to them. But in any event, they are the only ones that still have sort of this pick contest. Now, I will say this. Pivoting for one quick second. Have you played on Score Streak?
I have not.
It's kind of an interesting concept. Basically, you pick. There's thresholds, and you can pick any player, and somebody's got to score.
It'll give you like 5. Yeah, it's like pick 'em, but not.
Yeah. So it's. Right. You get like 15 points if you pick the guy that scores 30 fantasy points. It's like a dozen points if you get the guy with 24 and 20, and then rebounds 16, 12, and 10. It's kind of fun. They did it for football too, but you've got to try to pick which player you're going to have go for which milestone. So you get somebody like the Brown, you're like, oh, are we going with rebounds with him, or Gasol? Are we going rebounds? Are we going scoring? What's going to happen? So it's kind of interesting. But let's talk about the game at hand. Chris Paul or Pau Gasol?
Chris Paul.
Unequivocally, Chris Paul.
Not even close.
Really? So I had been all day leaning towards Pau in my cash games over Chris Paul. I'm gonna have to rethink that.
Oh, I thought you said Marc Gasol. You said from this game.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Pau Gasol.
You said Paul. Sorry, you didn't say Pau. You said just Gasol.
My apologies. You couldn't see what I was looking at.
Yeah, I can't. Okay, I do have Pau as the better play.
Okay. Whew. All right.
Slightly, but yes.
All right. Hassan Whiteside, DeAndre Jordan.
That's tough. I'm going to actually go against my sheet here, and I'm going to say DeAndre Jordan. It's got Whiteside, but I think that game turns ugly fast.
I will agree just because I think the game's going to be closer, but
Right?
yeah, that's actually a good one because we've seen well, they both had incredibly monster games. Whiteside definitely more foul prone than Jordan, but Jordan's got two bigs to deal with tonight. So and no Blake, so normally he doesn't get more than 4 fouls in a game, but he could be playing with 4 fouls early on and limiting his minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We'll go Jordan here, just barely, because I can envision a 38-point first half for Philly, and then Miami not needing to have to. They're going to just pull out enough to win. DeMar DeRozan, Gordon Hayward. Got to be with Gordon, right?
I like Hayward there, yeah.
Okay. Rudy Gobert, Georgie Dang.
Give me Dang there.
I agree. And now we're going to go with the little value center play. Alex Len.
Yeah.
Tyler Zeller.
I have Len.
I have Len also.
No, you know what? Switch that. Go to Zeller.
All right, we'll go to Zeller. So we're taking the entire right side.
Nice. So it all correlates.
It's perfect. We'll do 22 to win 40. See how we do. I like that. That Len one is giving me pause, as is the Whiteside one. But, hey, that's why they pick him, because they try to get him to be really close.
That's true.
Let's see here, Al. Any other exciting things you want to talk about? Hey, we've got a whole hour until lock.
It's true, but I do have something to announce, and there's a thread up in the forums. I'm going to put a link to it in chat. For those of you who have been following me on Twitter recently, you've seen me tweeting a lot about the dailyfantasybootcamp.com. That is the website that I have created. We're going to be doing a lot of live boot camps with some of the best players in daily fantasy sports that are way better players than me, guys like Peter Jennings, John Bales, Andrew Wiggins, Mike Leone, Birdwings, Dink Peace, David Kitchen from Fantasy Insiders, as well as some of your favorite RG hosts like Notorious and Hoop 2410 and STL Cards. We're going to be traveling around the country. We have 3 cities coming up, baseball-themed camps, making you a better daily fantasy baseball player. In Los Angeles, in Denver, and Chicago. You get to sit down, learn from these guys, and then at the end of the day, go hang out, sweat some games, have a couple of beers, and have yourself a good time meeting some of these guys that you see on top of the score sheet every single day. We have. I'm working with Roto Grinders on this as well. We have we've partnered up on this, so you're going to hear it from us here. It's going to be on the forums. So go to the site, check it out. If you can attend a live camp, that's awesome. We would love to meet you. We'd love to see you and help you become a better daily fantasy player. If you can't come to one of those cities, you can go to get a subscription on the site, and all the sessions from each one of the speakers is going to be uploaded to the site. Subscribers will have all-you-can-eat access to all of the videos where they can watch these guys and become a better player by watching the webinar stuff. In addition to watching the videos, you have access to my personal daily fantasy projections for NBA and soon baseball and NFL. So give the site a look. Check it out. If you can make it to one of these conferences, we'd love to have you. They're capped at 40 people, so seats are limited. So if you want to buy one, get it now. This is as good a value as you're going to get. It's $100 for a ticket to a live boot camp. The price will be more for NFL. So we're starting out. I'm giving everybody a chance to get in on the ground floor for a pretty cheap price with a lot of value. So thanks for listening to my spiel. And EMac, is there anything left from you that you want to talk to our viewers about before we get out of here?
Since we hadn't really asked any questions, I just put in the chat that we'll do a couple questions. They want to know if they'll be able to shake your hand.
Sure. I have no problem shaking hands and talking to people and kissing babies. So, there'll be chance to hang out. Like I said, it's going to be a lot of learning during the whole Saturday boot camp, and then at the end of the day, it's going to be real relaxed. There's going to be a little excursion. We'll go to a sports bar, rent out the back room, have some food, have some cocktails, and everybody can watch and sweat their lineups out for the entire evening with all the campers and all the speakers. So it's really going to be a fun time, and I hope that you guys can make it out.
All right. Will there be any basketball since Andrew Wiggins will be at the boot camps?
It is going to be Maki Supa Andrew Wiggins, but not Minnesota Timberwolves Andrew. We're going to have the good Andrew Wiggins.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
All right, here's a few questions for you. PJ Tucker or Corey, or I'm forgetting the name, Brewer.
I love Corey Brewer. I've been
Tonight?
on Corey Brewer like every day, like the last week.
What have I missed? He hasn't even popped on my radar.
He's been killing it.
All right, good to know. Let's see here. If Basketball Monster says Patrick Beverly is out.
All right, and that means Jason Terry is in. So, again, if you have purchased the projections for today on Daily Fantasy Bootcamp, you can go in there and edit his minutes. You can move Beverly down to 0 and pump up Jason Terry to whatever you think his minutes are, and it'll recalculate all the projections for you.
Very good. Very good. I am not touching Jason Terry tonight. Zebo or Whiteside?
Zebo for the hammer, Whiteside for the upside. His name isn't Hassan Upside for nothing.
Very true. Bayless or Isaiah Cannon?
If you need the savings, go with Cannon. I think that Bayless is the better play.
I agree on that one.
If you have the money, go with Bayless. If you don't have the money, Cannon is fine.
Yeah, I would say I agree with that. Tim Frazier was kind of lurking around a little bit last night in that game.
He's going to play. They're still going to play Frazier, in the backup minutes, but 30 minutes for a 3K player. Enjoy that while it lasts, because as soon as they update the salaries for the next one on DraftKings, there's no way he's going to be under 4,500.
All right. Here's a pair for cash games from Rex. Gordon and Ariza or Martin and Barnes?
I like the Gordon Ariza side. I like Gordon a lot. I think you could probably improve on Ariza, but I like that side because of Gordon.
Yeah, I think Gordon's he's got a good shot at 40 fantasy points tonight.
And wait, EMac. Ersan Ilyasova is going to start at power forward tonight for the Bucks.
Now, since I am sitting in Dean's chair, figuratively, who's with me? The Ersan Ilyasova death train.
Not me, but I'll tell you one more thing. Dante Cunningham will start at power forward in place of Anthony Davis.
I don't even know how to react to that one.
He's super cheap.
Didn't he do something stupid in one of the...
That's what his thing is. It's kind of what he does. But he should play 25 to 30 minutes tonight at 3K at small forward, a position that should just be named to worst ever. You start a point guard, a shooting guard, a worst ever, a power forward, and a center.
Ugh, I don't think I can go
see that
there.
noise you made? That's what I do every time I have to roster a small forward.
But yeah, I just can't. All right, let's... too nasty. Come on! This is not Roto Grinders wireless. It's the whole Nashville, Tennessee thing is down. So we're on crappy Google Hangouts. This is the Al and EMac. They were calling us old men value.
Yeah, you can always roster me.
Yeah, grizzled veterans. I prefer
I know all the veteran moves.
Yep.
I've still got length. I can block a shot from time to time. Just ask Draft Cheat.
Yeah, I don't...
CSU Ram, I threw his shot into the next court.
Really? Oh,
Didn't even see me coming. I'm very sneaky in my old age.
How bitter was he when it happened?
He just laughed. He pulled up for like a jump shot on the wing. It's like I saw him curling. He was going to shoot it, so I just came from the other side. Wow! And just knocked it into the next court in the Bahamas, and he just looked all scared for a second. Because he had no idea I was anywhere around. It's hard to be sneaky at 6'3", 240.
Yes. Oh, I wish I would have seen that. Hey, maybe I'll make one of these live finals, and I can keep stats on the sideline. We'll do a little DFS meta version of the game.
Yeah, I was the min salary old man value play of the day.
There we go. But speaking of which, old man Richard Jefferson, and did you see highlights of his dunk last night?
Yeah, but he charged, so it doesn't count.
That was an awesome one. He was up so high, though. I was shocked by that one. All right, last question. We'll finish her up. We do have 55 minutes still before the game. Cash game, DeRozan or Tim Duncan? And that's from Charlo.
I like DeRozan. I don't trust them. We do have a from Pompey, one of the Sixers beat writers we have there. Starting lineup, I was right. They are going to stick with Henry Sims, who's going to bang against against Whiteside, which doesn't hurt Whiteside to me, but it helps Nerlens Noel more than anything else because it gets him off of having to defend Whiteside, and he's got a size advantage. He can roam. Defensively, he should have a couple of extra block shots and at least one extra block shot over his season average. Rebounding shouldn't also be a problem for him as well. I think it becomes a very sneaky GPP play.
And as I saw that starting lineup announced, Luke Richard Mamba Mute is in the starting lineup.
He is.
There's the solve at small forward at 4,500.
All right. You like the Mba, hmm?
I do. He's everyone's favorite Cameroonian, and he gets exactly between 20 and 25 DraftKings points every night. No more.
Pretty much every
and
game.
No less.
Yeah, he gets out there. He's almost like a mini Roomba.
Yes, and they need a veteran presence on that team because they don't have people that know how to play basketball out there. Their offense breaks down so quickly, so they need someone to kind of know what to do. So I think you can look at him and Gallinari, and that will end our show.
Yep.
So we will say thank you, DraftKings, for sponsoring a fun show. Thank you for going old school with us today, Al. Mm-hmm. Good luck, gamers. Al, sign us off.
Guys, thanks for having us today. Sorry about the internet problems, but for EMac, I'm Al. Bye, everybody.